Hi, I'm Vanessa,
Hi, I'm Jacinta.
and this is Strange Colony.
I
I like how you've got your banana out. That's a whole vibe.
Let that be a warning.
Current mood.
Permanent mood. I wanted a snack, but there's no other snacks in the house at the moment. So
Yeah, I mean, Aaron did just leave.
I know. So
Right.
what about Ned Kelly are we talking about today?
Yeah, let's talk about Ned before I start on a tangent about me. We are... Shut up. We're touching on the other Kelly brothers.
Sure.
We are going to be, hopefully if we have time, talking about the Greta mob and like the more well-known of the crimes, now that we've gotten through like backstory and upbringing and all that fun stuff.
Oh, fuck.
And all the more well-known incidents.
Cool.
We're still in 1871. I'll just
Yep.
find my place in my notes. This story starts out with both the other two brothers, James and Dan, and they're really starting to follow in their older brother's footsteps now.
Yes.
And the year is 1871. I already said that, didn't I?
Indeed.
Great start. Dan is aged 10 at this point, and James is 12.
Oh, dang. They're starting young.
Yeah.
All of them.
Well, there was an incident back in 1864 when Dan was still like 5 years old where he was accused of stealing horses.
Yeah.
A 5-year-old stealing a whole ass horse, though. Can he get up on it?
Some can.
I suppose if
They
you're
climb
raised
the
into it.
corral.
Yeah. Different times. What would I know?
More than me.
Only on this topic.
On lots of topics.
Aww. Stroke my ego. Thank you.
Touching on it.
It's the only thing that's getting touched right now.
Oh, she went there.
Yeah, she did. Now my mind is going other places.
I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
It's probably partially my fault.
All right, so James and Dan were arrested for stealing horses that or riding horses that didn't belong to them. Jim had been working at James.
Yep.
You know, yeah.
Okay.
He had been working for a local farmer. And he took the horse from this farmer to go ride home.
You don't sit where you eat, mate.
The boys were forced to spend 2 nights in a prison cell, and I guess the family's reputation preceded them. But the farmer later came and said he had given them permission to borrow the horses.
But he hadn't, had he?
I don't know. The story just goes he backed them.
So they were arrested without any proof?
Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't be surprised, but damn, they're children. Couldn't at least check with the farmer first?
No. These are Kelly boys.
Okay.
There's a lot of laws that are in place now that would prevent that, but back then there wasn't.
Yeah.
In 1873, James Kelly and Thomas Williams, the brother of William Williams.
I still can't get over the names.
were charged of cattle theft. And the next month they were both sentenced to 5 years.
Oof.
This is why a lot isn't really said about them as well, because they, and especially James Kelly, he did the most amount of prison time.
Oh, rough.
He copped like long sentences and had to serve majority of the sentence. He wasn't as good as Ned as like weaseling his way out on good behavior.
But then he wasn't as pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, he was just as pretty. Like all the Kelly boys are kind of like almost like carbon copies of each other. Almost. A few differences.
Right.
Okay. Maybe Ned did sell out a lot of information though. Made a lot of deals.
Yes, possibly. There's an argument for it there, that's for sure.
Yeah. So Ned was in prison at the time that this happened, and he got transferred to a prison hulk called the Sacramento. The prisons were so overflowing that the ships that they used to transport convicts and such here were then used whilst they were in docks as prisons.
Oh, I knew that one. I knew that.
Yay! Go you! And he was released on good behaviour the year after. So when he returned home, James was in prison and Dan was free.
It's like days of our lives, but prison stories.
Yes. Oh my god, I just closed my notes. Whoops.
Oh no, don't do that.
I need them. I can't remember shit without them.
You know what? It gets like that sometimes. Especially when you're dealing with a story that's got as much involved in it.
Yeah.
That was me with Snowtown.
I mean, I could have just done a brief overview, but come on, this is such a great story. Like you said, Days of Our Lives.
Ned Kelly, can't skip over it.
No. After Ned had returned home, his mother remarried, finally, after so many years of being alone. She remarried an American man named George King.
It's not the weirdest name so far.
No, it's actually very average. Yeah. Ned had a bit of a chip on his shoulder about serving time over the Chestnut Mare, which is what he'd just been released for.
Well, I mean, he didn't fucking steal it, so fair.
Yeah, and he served a good amount of time for it. And the dude who actually stole it got a lighter sentence. And so he's filthy on him.
I would
absolutely filthy. Yeah. So he challenged him to a bare-knuckle fight.
Oh, of course he did.
At the Imperial Hotel in Beechworth. Yeah.
We're back in Beechworth.
We're back in Beechworth. Yay! The fight took place in August that year. So he'd been released earlier in the year. He's stewing. The fight between Ned and Wright took 20 rounds.
I just read that.
Yeah, it lasted. Yeah, they both lasted, but Ned was declared the winner as well as the unofficial champion for the district.
Oh, hang on. That's more of a moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And after this, Wright became a big supporter of Ned and the beef was settled.
Men are weird.
Men are so weird. They get into arguments, they fight each other, and then they're having beers together afterwards, and it's all worked out. What the actual?
Yeah. That is not part of my mask side at all.
I kind of understand it. I like the simplicity of it. But also, the only thing that you're dealing with is your anger over the situation. You don't get to, really deal with anything else.
No. Sounds like there's a lot of repression going on.
Yeah.
Is he okay?
Oh, yeah, he's watching shit. Nate! I'm recording! Oh, wow. Love that my mic picks up all of that.
Special today.
Mm-hmm. After this fight, Ned tried to go straight for a while. Be all legit.
I'm sorry. For those who listen and don't watch, I rolled my eyes so hard they nearly popped out the back of my head.
So if he got into trouble, there's not much recorded, because if he was doing illegitimate, illegal things, he was obviously good enough to not get caught, or people helped him get away with it or whatever.
Being on sly.
He worked at a sawmill and for a builder.
Okay.
Yeah, he kept his nose clean for 3 years.
Not bad.
He did good. Yeah. Considering where he's come from, he did good.
Yeah.
In 1875, Dan and his cousins, the Lloyd brothers,
yes,
went and worked seasonal work in the Riverina area and the Monaro High Plains. So we're talking northeast Victoria, southeast New South Wales. And
I actually lived in the Riverina for a couple of years.
Oh, there you go.
Yes. My lighting's fucking around at the moment.
Yeah, it is. You've gone really dim.
Yeah, it's because there's a tree there. And so it depends on where the sun comes from. I wouldn't say boo tree,
but yay tree.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry,
continue. And this is when the Greta mob was essentially formed, or became really well known. So it was Dan Kelly, the Lloyd brothers, and a few other friends, including Joe Byrne, Steve Hart, who are a part of the Kelly gang later on. Yeah. And there's a few others, because essentially the Kelly gang is just like a small offshoot from the Greta mob.
Right.
They were not just known for their crimes. Okay. They attended horse races, dances, and hotels together. Okay. They were like a really big social group. People loved to party with them and to be around them. They would shout you beers at the pub and all that sort of stuff. Like, they built a really big following by...
They were the popular kids.
Yeah. So, yeah, and their reputation would extend from, like, Beechworth to Wangaratta to... I can't remember what it's called. It starts with a T, but it's more sort of in New South Wales. Yeah.
Okay.
It's not in my notes, I don't think.
Geography's not in my wheelhouse.
But they were still making a lot of money from things like stock theft. Still.
Of course.
They were rowdy.
I could totally see like a movie where it's like, you know how they have always the cool crowd that the people want to go hang out with. Normally it's like based in college or something like that, or high schools, and like the dorky kid goes and hangs out with the cool kids, and it's like, oh my god, it's fun and it's parties and they're all so glamorous. And then there's that shady underbelly side of it every single time.
Yeah.
It's kind of cliche, actually.
Yeah. But it does happen.
It clearly happens. Oh, geez.
Oh, come on. It happened well before that.
Yeah, but let's not think back further.
That's a lot.
A lot.
It's a lot. In 1876, 1876, Dan was arrested in Benalla for stealing a saddle.
Sure.
Not a horse, no stuff, just a saddle.
Just the tack, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Not even all of it, like not even a bridle or anything.
That's so tacky.
But there wasn't enough evidence to make the charges stick.
Did he not have the saddle?
I don't know what goes on. It was probably something got stolen and they immediately just went, yeah, we're going to arrest one of those Kelly boys.
Probably.
You're in the area, we're going for you.
Alright, okay. Can't prove that he stole the thing that's
Yeah.
Okay.
Then in 1877, Dan and the Lloyds got into trouble again. After going to a shop for supplies and finding it shut, Dan broke down the door because the owner refused to open up for them.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's some serious, like, I'm drunk and just want to do my thing.
I was going to say, Dan's
Bullshit.
not the smart one, is he?
Oh, no. No. Definitely not. He's that bull at the gate.
Right.
So the charges were violent assault, damage to property, and breaking into a house and stealing 113 pounds worth of items. So many witnesses too, because like shop front, it's on a main street, so it's not just the shop owner, it's all the people around.
My silence is dumbfoundedness for the listeners.
And this is also a time where witness testimony is what gets a person convicted.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
He's really not the sharpest crayon in the box.
Hey, that's a Malafor. I like it.
So because of this, the gang had to go into hiding.
Yeah.
After 3 weeks, the police still hadn't found them.
Why wouldn't you just give them Dan?
Because he's that dude that with that 113 pounds worth of stolen goods would go shout you down at the pub.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
They're all broke. They got nothing else better to do. They all need a bit of distraction from their reality.
True.
So Constable Alexander Fitzpatrick, who is a friend of Ned's, told Ned, because this is when Ned's all legit and stuff, to get them to give themselves up.
Yeah.
And he did manage to do that. Most of the charges couldn't be proven in court, but Dan did 1 month for damaging property worth £10. And when I say couldn't be proven in court, I dare say
the witnesses decided to not talk.
Decided to, or had it decided for them?
How they got to their decision, we never know.
But yeah, that happened.
That happened. Oh my God.
While in prison, James is learning, we're back onto James, he's learning shoemaking. He's making the most of the rehabilitation services that they actually have in there.
He's the one who spent the most time in there, isn't he?
Yes.
Then he should.
Yeah, his first charge landed him 5 years, not like 5 months.
Holy fuck balls.
So yeah, he learned a trade. He learned shoemaking. He was released in 1877.
Yep.
But he went straight home to 11 Mile Creek with, all the family.
The fam bam.
He was smart enough to move away.
Okay.
And get away from them.
Yep.
He just went out to Wagga Wagga, which is, I don't know, an hour or 2 drives north of where they were. You know Wagga? Yeah.
I do know Wagga because we used to have to drive through Wagga to get to South Australia when we lived in the Riverina
Yeah.
to visit family.
Yeah. He was also smart enough to use an alias.
What's the
that
alias?
Is my battery dying. Actually, it's James Wilson. So it's not even...
How boring. I mean,
know.
Kind of point,
it's
I guess.
good.
It's a good alias,
for,
yeah, if you want to try and
yeah.
hide. But I was hoping for more.
Yeah. At this stage, though, he was still not smart enough to completely stay out of trouble.
Well, yeah. Fair.
So even though he'd learned the trade, he'd moved away from his family. Him and another lad by the name of William Manley stole 2 horses and saddles and bridles, like all the kit to go with them.
Sure.
They were arrested shortly after.
Yep.
And sentenced to 3 years.
That's the bit I was waiting for.
He always ends up with the worst sentences. So he's got, like, enough to cover his ass in some respects, but not enough smarts to completely cover his ass and get away with things. Which also makes me believe, like, Ned probably did sell out a lot of other people to get his sentences reduced.
Especially if he was going under an alias, so at the time they would have assumed it was his first offence and wouldn't have associated him with the Kelly gang, and he immediately got 3 years anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ned's a snitch.
I think so too.
Yeah. That statement alone is going to piss off so many people.
I know. I'm hating
comments.
I'd still date him, not gonna lie.
That, I'm not surprised.
So, Dan got in the shit. James is in lockup for 3 years.
That's right. James is a bad boy. That's how we digressed. James got in the shit.
Yeah. James is smart enough to, like, do some shit, but not smart enough to keep his ass out of jail.
Yeah.
And this is where we're theorising Ned's a snitch.
Yes.
Right. So, we're still in 1877.
Yes.
And Ned has joined up with his stepfather. And they're getting back into horse stealing. The dude who he served time over for riding this horse that he stole, so Wright.
Yep. Right. Yep.
And William Williamson, Joe Byrne, Aaron Sherritt, and Alan Lowry. Oh, and Albert Saxon.
Sure.
Were a part of the mob at the time.
Yep.
Apparently, during this period of time, Ned claims they stole in excess of 280 horses.
Sure. Because he was never prone to over-exaggerating or tuning his own horn past the point where it was realistic.
No.
Ever.
He was never into showboating at all. Ever. It's also said that Tom and Jack Lloyd, his cousins, were a part of this at periods of time as well.
Lloyd boys.
The Lloyd boys. In September that year, we're still in, what were we, 1877?
Oh. I remember.
Go you. Ned was arrested for riding over a footpath drunk. Of all fucking things.
Okay. How long do you get for that?
We'll get to it.
Okay.
He got released, like it was just like an overnight sentence.
Yep. Like there's a butt coming here.
The next day, Ned took on the 4 police officers who were escorting him to court.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, he was in lockup for a night. He's being escorted to court.
For what seems to be a misdemeanor.
Yeah, and he decides to punch on with his escort.
Uh-huh.
One of the people escorting him was his friend Alex Fitzpatrick of the police force service.
Uh-huh.
And he still threw fists at him.
Yeah, I'm not even remotely surprised at this point. Sure.
It's said that one of the other escorts grabbed Ned by the testicles. to try and subdue him.
Okay.
Yeah, major scuffle. And no one was playing fair.
Uh-huh.
So Ned scored a drunken disorderly, as well as resisting arrest, and assaulting a police officer. Not all of them, just a.
Just one of them.
Yeah.
They can take turns.
No time served, just a fine.
What?
I don't understand. Assaulting a police officer now?
What, did he
Would get
kiss
you-
them all better afterwards? Like,
Maybe he gives really good head. I don't know.
exactly where I was going. You just said it. We're going to hell.
And, Kelly, Ned, he's vowing vengeance on the dude who grabbed him by the testicles. Like, he's not letting it go.
Well, that one didn't kiss it better.
And it's said that his friendship with Alex Fitzpatrick got very tense to the point where Fitzpatrick was apparently harassing his family.
Right.
He took it very personally that his friend punched him over escorting him to the courthouse, which why wouldn't you?
I can't imagine why somebody would think that. What a silly thing to get upset over.
This is so the outback days of our lives.
Oh my god, it is. All we need is the fake baby trap.
Yeah.
With the pillow stuffed up the skirts. Oh, it'll be Alex that does it. Ned! It's your baby.
Oh my god, that it. We'll get to that.
Continue.
Alright, so we're still in 1877. It's a very eventful year.
Very big fucking year.
We're now in August, and Ned, his stepfather, the Kelly gang, Greta mob, whatever you want to call them at this point, stole from a local grazer who was very wealthy.
Right.
They took 11 horses from him in total. Ned rebranded them and managed to sell 6 of them.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of impressive.
He really was the brains of the outfit.
Duh, yeah. Yep. So, 6 were sold.
6 were sold to a horse dealer in Barnawatha.
Who's the Watsa?
Barnawatha. It's a really, really, really tiny town. It's still really tiny.
Okay.
It's...
Are we in Victoria or New South Wales?
We're in Victoria. I would say about half an hour away from Wodonga. Maybe 20 minutes.
Darrow.
Yeah. Still up near the border of New South Wales and Victoria, though.
Yep.
Yeah. In September that year, the police began an investigation because 26 horses had been reported as stolen.
Mm-hmm.
And the person who took receipt of the 6 rebranded horses, William Baumgarten.
Had to be another name. William.
Yes, it had to be. And his brother, Gustav, were arrested.
I love that name. I do love that name.
Yeah. So they were arrested for selling stolen horses.
Yep.
But they, of course, did not know that they were stolen because they were rebranded.
Yes.
And so they give their story to the police, and so then they're hot on Ned's trail. A warrant goes out, all that sort of jazz. The next year, in 1878, warrants out for not just Ned and his stepdad, but also for Dan, because he'd been released at this point and was back into it.
Yep.
And a couple of others.
Yeah.
Their stepdad, George, he gave everyone the slip and was never seen again.
Never.
Like, never. There's nothing of him after that.
I think the marriage was over.
I'm pretty sure it was the slip he got given.
Okay.
So Fitzpatrick, Mr. Alex.
Right, background to Alex.
Background to Alex. He's still holding that grudge, so he's hunting for the boys.
Did
Ends up at
his
the
testicles.
I don't know.
Like,
Although think about it, like if he's an associate of the Kelly gang, but he's on the police force, surely his professional reputation is more than at stake at this point.
true.
So he went and raided the Kelly property at 11 Mile Creek. Because I said that Dan Kelly was there.
Yep.
Witnesses in Chilton, which is another little northeastern Victorian town, had been seen Dan riding horses that they, of course, assumed were stolen.
Of course.
So this brings us up to what is known as the Fitzpatrick incident.
Okay.
There's two sides to this story, and I'm going to tell you both.
Okay.
Yes. So there was a fight with Fitzpatrick after he claimed the Kelly family had tried to kill him.
Yep.
And the boys went out afterwards. They hid out in the bush, blah, blah, blah. Because they ended up being charged with attempted murder. Ellen Kelly got arrested, all this sort of stuff. All right, so Fitzpatrick's story is as follows. Constable Strachan, in April, and he was the police officer who was in charge at the Greta police station, heard that Ned was in a shearing shed. That constable was given leave to apprehend Ned in the shed, and that was in New South Wales.
Okay.
So he had to leave from Victoria to go to New South Wales.
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick was the officer who was put on duty to relieve him in Greta.
Right.
And there was a notice in the Police Gazette that a warrant had been put out for Dan Kelly for horse theft. So Fitzpatrick read this, discussed it with his sergeant about going to the Kelly residence to apprehend Dan. So that way they would end up bringing both Kelly boys back.
That'd be a huge coup.
Huge. So, of course, the sergeant gave approval, but also gave warning to bear caution, because that's the Kelly residence. You won't just get Dan.
You get a lot.
Yeah. So it's the 15th of April, and Fitzpatrick on his horse, off he trots.
By himself?
By himself.
Okay.
Into the Kelly residence, with
I can see where he went wrong.
The Kellys, the Lloyds. But the sergeant gave approval.
Might have miscalculated a little bit there.
I wonder if it was like a little bit of like they just wanted to see if like how loyal Fitzpatrick was, given that he did have that prior reputation of being friends with them until that brawl.
Possibly.
Yes, yeah. That's kind of like sending a bunny into a lion's den.
I have to do this. You know I have to do this. Right. So
when he got there, Dan wasn't home. But Fitzpatrick decided to stay and chat with Ellen Kelly, who, of course, being ever the hospitable hostess, let him hang around.
Yeah.
A couple of the kids were still in the house, like the younger Kelly children. Fitzpatrick said he could hear someone chopping wood. So his story is he went to ensure that they had the necessary license for it. This is on their own damn settlement.
To chop wood. Yep, okay,
wood.
Sure. Any excuse will do.
Apparently, the person chopping wood was William Williamson, who stated that he didn't need to license to chop wood on his own selection, which, fair, private property.
Yep.
At that point, when Fitzpatrick is outside with William, two horsemen were seen approaching the house.
Yeah.
And these were Dan Kelly and William Skillion.
Yeah.
Also of the Greta mob. William Skillion.
Yep.
Pretty sure he marries one of the Kelly girls as well.
Sure.
So Fitzpatrick arrested Dan, but Dan requested to eat a home-cooked meal for dinner before they left. Fitzpatrick acquiesced.
Sure.
His story goes, moments later, Ned bursts in, guns a-blazing, fires at Fitzpatrick and misses.
How does everybody miss or misfire? Like...
I mean, guns are made back then the way they are now.
I know there's like a huge variance in accuracy, but...
I'm thinking, like, such a close range, I don't think he actually was trying to shoot to kill.
Okay.
Because he's quite experienced.
Yeah.
At this point, Ellen Kelly hits Fitzpatrick over the head with a shovel.
I was hoping it was going to be a frying pan, but okay. Just she was toasting and cooking a meat.
Two other shots were fired during the struggle, and Fitzpatrick was injured just above his left wrist.
Okay.
So he did get hit, like, there-ish.
Sure.
During the commotion, all the men on the selection entered the house with their guns drawn, and they made a move to disarm Fitzpatrick, and they succeeded, of course, because
they had their guns drawn.
Numbers as well.
Mm-hmm.
After Fitzpatrick regained consciousness, Ned got him to dig out the bullet from his arm, and Mrs. Kelly dressed the wound.
Okay.
Threats were made to... Pardon?
I'm going to shoot you, but let's fix you up.
Yeah, well, like I said, I really don't think he was aiming to kill.
Yeah.
As far as Ned's concerned, they're still kind of friends.
Uh-huh. What's a little bit of a rapid fire amongst friends?
Yeah, well... We've already had a punch-up on the way to court. It's a little bit more.
Bit of love tap.
Yeah, exactly.
Right here.
Could have been the head. Like, seriously, bro.
I don't know, the way everybody shoots in this. Probably not.
Man.
Anyway.
So, threats were made to Fitzpatrick in regards to him telling the truth about the events of the afternoon. Ned is adamant, like, I wouldn't have fired if I knew it was you, you know, all that sort of stuff, claiming he didn't know it was Fitzpatrick, but this is also Fitzpatrick's version of events.
Yeah.
Ellen's threatening him about his life being no good to him and all that sort of stuff if he did sell them out. Ned had come up with a cover story, and they needed to get the incident to go away until the Baumgarten case was over and done with.
Yep.
So Fitzpatrick agrees to this and leaves the Kelly residence. He says he was followed by 2 horsemen, but after spurring his horse into a gallop, he lost them.
Yeah.
He made his way to the Winton Hotel, which is not far from Chilton, and he was assisted by the manager redressing his wound. He had a drink, and the manager accompanied him back to Benalla, which is where his sergeant was, and Fitzpatrick spilled the beans to his superior.
Yep. Spilled the beans.
So, the Kellys' version of events is Ned claims he was 200 miles away when the incident occurred. This is his official statement.
Okay.
Ellen had asked Fitzpatrick if he had a warrant when he came to the residence, which he replied he only had a telegram. Ellen said that Dan didn't have to go then because there was no actual formal written warrant in his possession.
Yep.
That's when Fitzpatrick drew his revolver and threatened to blow her brains out should she interfere.
Okay.
And it's reported that Ellen had a clap back, which was, you would not be so handy with that pop gun of yours if Ned was here.
Uh-huh.
Dan was in the residence at the time while all this is happening, and Dan tried to trick Fitzpatrick by saying, "There's Ned coming alongside the house now." Dan pretended to look out the window for Ned while Fitzpatrick was distracted. He cornered him and disarmed him.
Oh,
but he says, gun. Yeah, but I released him totally unharmed. He didn't have a hole in him.
Uh-huh.
And he's saying that the wound was self-inflicted and that William Skillion and William Williamson were never present on the day.
Uh-huh.
In an interview in 1879, so after a bunch of things had already gone down, Kate, Ned's sister, stated that Fitzpatrick had made a sexual advance on her and Ned shot him in her defense. But Ned denies that claim too.
Kate just wants a piece of the action, got it.
There's so many stories like from the Kelly family that just like you can't tell what's up and down.
What do you think actually happened that day?
I've got one more before we get to that question.
Okay. I'll hold the questions.
So there is another story based on interviews conducted with James. So the brother that was in lockup while all this happened.
Okay, Jimmy, who wasn't even fucking there. Got it.
Yeah. Because he was told by...
Are we getting a second-hand one now? Got it.
We're getting a second-hand one. Oh, it's also an interview conducted with Tom Lloyd. So Jim has second-hand information from people present, and then there's his cousin Tom Lloyd at the same time.
Okay.
And they are saying that Fitzpatrick was drunk when he got to the Kelly residence. He sat by the fire, pulled Kate onto his knee. And this provoked Dan, who threw him onto the floor. And they struggled for his revolver. And that's when Ned arrived. And the 2 Kelly boys grabbed the constable, disarmed him. And during the struggle, Fitzpatrick struck his hand against a protruding door lock. And that's where the wound came from. And it just looked like a gunshot wound.
That's the most fucking convoluted one yet.
Yeah.
I call bullshit on that one.
I call bullshit on that one.
I call bullshit on Kate altogether.
Yes, I do too.
So what do you think actually happened then?
What do I think actually happened? I'm actually more inclined to believe Fitzpatrick's version of events.
In its entirety or with a few tweaks?
With a few tweaks, because Initially, when I read through this, because I'm still like an avid Kelly supporter, I'm all like, nah, fuck the police, rah rah rah, like, and he's got it out for them since that scuffle.
She means that like Ice Cube means that don't
Yes,
start
yes.
investigating her.
Yeah. Yes, that. Um, because yeah, I was looking at it as he's just got it out for them since Ned punched on with him.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah, I think stupid decisions were made by both parties.
All
I don't
parties
think
even?
all parties. Yeah. Um, no one is telling the absolute truth.
No. But you think the police officer's telling most truth?
I think he's telling the most truth, but I do actually I'm inclined to believe he did rock up drunk.
Okay. I wouldn't have thought so, given he knew he was going into the Kelly residence alone.
Hey man, there's nothing like a liquor jacket. Bit of armor.
Okay.
I punch a few shots, I'm invincible.
I must be the only one who likes keeping their wits about them.
It's very...
So you think Ned was actually there?
I do think Ned was there.
Yeah. I think he was too. I think I was 200 kilometers away.
Yeah, because he's the only one who's stating that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
So no.
Didn't Dan state that he wasn't?
No, he said that he was rocking up to the house whilst Fitzpatrick was sitting by the fire.
Right. Yeah. So we agree that Ned was there.
We agree that Ned was there. I do believe Ellen smacked him over the head with a shovel because that is...
I've decided it's a frying pan because I like that better.
Someone's been watching way too much Tangled.
She was already in the kitchen being a hostess, so she just... yeah. Shovel would not be the closest thing, so that doesn't make sense.
Have you lived in a bush house?
It doesn't make sense, I said. And I like
snakes are a thing. Shovels are handy.
Frying pan.
Fine. It's a frying pan.
It's a frying pan. Ellen hit him over the head with the frying pan. Just a dunk.
But I also do believe that Ned wasn't shooting to kill.
Yeah, I would hope not.
I think it was just to disarm and
warning shot, even in the general direction of, because you couldn't deliberately hit someone in the wrist with one of those guns.
No,
like they don't have that kind of accuracy.
No, that's right. I think he probably did walk in on a scuffle and was just trying to use the gunshot to, hey, listen up. Which also means he gave the person who was going to go arrest him, he gave them the slip before they even got to where he was at.
Was he ever there?
Well, that's the question. I mean, he could have been, but, support runs deep in a lot of those smaller towns.
Yeah, that's true.
So...
they either love you or they hate you. No in between. Okay, so Dan was there, Ellen was there. I don't think Kate was even freaking there.
She was there.
Okay, she was in a room.
Because, Grace was there, Kate was there, and I think Maggie was there.
Kate was peeking through a doorway at Alex, like...
Ellen probably saw Fitzpatrick come in and told the girls to get the fuck out anyway.
Probably. Yep. Go back room.
That sort of woman who's grown up in that sort of environment and is still trying to run a household, she wouldn't let her youngest daughters hang around and bear witness to that.
Nah. Yep. Do you think the Williams were there?
All the Williams.
All the Williams. The
Well,
Williamson and the Skillions and I couldn't help it.
Oh man, those names. Oh my god, those names. Well, Fitzpatrick's story is very particular. Like
Detailed.
the whole, yeah, it's those finer details. The whole, I could hear someone chopping wood outside, so I thought I would go investigate.
Yeah, but I think it has nothing to do with checking if they had a freaking license for it.
No,
He was hunting.
he was hunting. He was looking
Yep.
to see if it was Ned,
He
or
was
he was
looking to
not.
try and bring somebody down or something.
Yeah, I think he was going to go out there to go see if they could provide him with some information, whether they wanted to.
Or if it was Dan, even.
Yeah,
Since that's what he'd come for.
yeah.
Do you think they all pulled guns on him? Do you think they had to all pull guns on him?
Oh, absolutely not. That is so dramatic. So dramatic.
I'm betting it was only the gun that Ned had.
Probably. There's absolutely no need for that. And especially considering, like, a woman knocked him out with a shovel.
Yeah, I don't think they need to hold guns at him in order to get his fucking
No.
piece off him.
No. It was very much him looking after his precious ego.
Yeah, it took this many guns to get my gun away from me.
Yeah. He's in competition with Ned, who had to be taken down by 7 people on one of his transports to court.
And, you know, made a dude roar with his spurs.
I rode him like a pony.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
That is my opinions, and it did go to trial.
Yep.
Ellen, Kelly, William Williamson, and William Skillion were all charged with aiding and abetting attempted murder.
I've just got to... You got those names out so fucking well just then.
It's a lot sometimes.
It's a lot.
So they were charged with attempted murder.
Yep.
Over donking him over the head and him being shot in the wrist.
Except only one person donked and only one person shot.
And neither of those boys were the ones that shot.
And neither of those people were attempting to kill him. Got it.
Yeah. Dan and Ned were not able to be found at the point where this trial had happened. Like, they hightailed it out of there. They hit the bush. Like, we're gone. We're out of here.
He left. They were the 2 horsemen that he thought was following them, but they were just making sure he pissed off so they could veer off in that direction.
Exactly, because they've already got warrants out. Like, this is just going to make it worse, and they knew it.
But he lost them.
Look at me. I'm so adept.
Oh, sorry. My, that's my thing dying. Never get in the hole.
Get in the hole.
Yep.
So the 3 in custody faced their charges on the 9th of October in 78.
Yep.
Oh, excuse me. The doctor who treated Fitzpatrick gave evidence and stated that the wound matched the story that Fitzpatrick had given, and that he was definitely not drunk at the time of the incident. Which by the time he treated him, how the fuck could he know?
Yeah, hold the front door. He could not.
Yep. And you know how I said how, like, some of the sisters were still in the house?
Yeah.
They were not called to testify in spite of being eyewitnesses.
Oh, no, they don't want their testimony.
No.
Of course not.
3 police officers testified that Kelly had admitted to shooting Fitzpatrick after his capture.
They weren't there, but yeah, sure.
Yeah. William Williamson stated that Kelly did, Ned did shoot him. but he was also seeking remission for his sentence at the time. So,
Oh,
you
wait,
know,
which one? Williamson, did you say? Not
yeah,
Skillion.
yeah, not
William.
Skilliam,
Okay.
Williamson. So the long-time friend, like long-time partnership going on there.
Well, I mean, based on our theories, he's just learnt it from Ned.
Yeah. So there's
Oh,
other
there's a bus.
people. Some people say that it wasn't Bill Skillion at the site, it was Joe Byrne.
They're all interchangeable, right?
Yeah, it doesn't really matter at this point. Like, there's so fucking many of them, it doesn't matter who was present at the end of the day.
There was people there.
There was people
A
there.
thing happened.
Yes.
I've got to say though, but like with the dunking on the head with a shovel, if it was actually attempted murder and he did pass out, like if they were trying to kill him, he'd be dead.
Exactly. If they wanted him dead, he would have been dead and buried.
All you'd have to do is hit him a couple more times with the shovel or the frying pan.
Whilst he's passed the fuck out, shoot
Yeah,
him in the head. Oh my god.
can't miss at really close range.
Yeah. So, no, they weren't trying to kill him.
Go to your room.
Rawr. But that's all we're going to have time for this episode.
Yeah, we natted on a little bit.
Yeah.
But
But
that was a good one to go down. Like, that was a fun little, ooh, speculation time.
yeah, this was definitely going to be my favorite of the episodes that I've got planned, for sure. Except for Arfuk. But I felt the first episode was necessary in order to like lay the foundation for this.
I totally feel that. It's
So,
sort of like
next.
the third episode for me for Snowtown. Like, it was a necessity.
Yeah, had to happen.
Had to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So next up, I will go into depth and introduce you all to Steve Hart and Joe Byrne,
Mm-hmm.
who are the other members of the known Kelly gang, as people recall them now.
The Kelly gang. Yeah.
Yes. So, and they
And
were
I
present.
don't know these people at all. So I am along the same ride as a person who has barely heard anything.
Yay! And hopefully we will also have time to get to the Stringy Bark Creek murders and the Last Stand.
Yep.
Which then should conclude the whole series, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see how many times we digress.
Yes, because so far, these episodes have not gone the way I've planned them out. At all.
Good thing that you're flexible and not so stuck in your idea of how this is supposed to be.
No, whatever's going to happen on the day is going to happen on the day.
Yeah.
We're still here, we're still learning, I'm still talking. It's all good.
Indeed. On that note,
if you would like to get in touch with us, you can find us over on Instagram at StrangeColony 2.0, or you can hit up our email, strangecolony@gmail.com. And until next week, I love you. Bye-bye.
I love you. Bye-bye.
Stop.
Stop.